And what the Westerner is on is what's known as the asymptotic curve of the subtle sphere. It's a curve that never meets the place, but it sucks you in further and further and further, because you almost know you know. See? You get very far out. You see so much. You begin to see. I had a friend, Aldous Huxley, who was in one of these places. And finally, he was down to practically one word. I mean, he had a beautiful command of language, but everything was blowing his mind all the time. And he was going around, and all he'd say was, extraordinary. Everything he would look at, anything, extraordinary. He was seeing how it all was, and he was gasped by seeing how it all was. But finally, you've got to give that one up, too. You see? And the problem, the thing that's so interesting is when you start to go into samadhi, the first thing you go into are these waves of bliss like you've never had before. Oh, God, it's so good. Boy. And why not hang out here, man? But the Vedas say, keep going, baby, don't stop now. The problem is you've got to give up the experiencer. The experiencer of bliss is still separate from the bliss, and finally you become the bliss. The knower is separate from the knowledge. Finally you give up the knower to be the knowledge. The here and now is separate from he who is thinking about or experiencing the here and now, so finally you give up him. It is surrender. But the rules of the game say that you can only surrender when there is no surrender. That is, if you think you've given something up, forget it. Forget it, because you can't do it. For example, I am a practicing yogi, and I love root beer. Now, root beer is not listed by the Vedas as one of the foods that yogis eat. And I am a beginner on the trip. I am in the first of many years of training, and I still like root beer. Now, I can sit in my meditation room, and I can look so holy, butter would melt in my mouth. I mean, I really look like Buddha himself. Except all the time I'm thinking about root beer. Well, if I'm thinking about it, I might as well drink it. But every time I drink it, I strengthen the whole habit of drinking it. But if I don't drink it, I sit and think about it. So sometimes I'm sitting in the meditation room and I'm just sitting and I'm very zonked out. And the next moment I notice I'm at my father's refrigerator holding a bottle of root beer, drinking it. And at first I go through, oh, damn it, you're drinking root beer. And then I see that putting myself down for drinking the root beer is just another form of attachment too. Ramana Maharshi says, instead of sitting around wailing and saying, alas, I am a sinner, get on with it. If you spent all that energy doing your thing, you'd all be enlightened. So all you can do is develop a place in yourself which is called the witness, which notes it, which says, there he is drinking root beer. There he is putting himself down for drinking root beer. This is what is known as karma yoga. Because what extricating yourself from desire and attachment doesn't mean that you stop having the desires or in some ways fulfilling them. It means you stop being identified with he who is having the desires. If I am not my body, then every time I make the statement, I am sleepy, I am hungry, these are lies. You understand that? Do you understand what is required then? What is required is a complete reorganization of your entire thought process. Because you're thinking from one vantage point, and if you're going to make it, you've got to be thinking from another vantage point. You've got to change your perceptual viewpoint, your cognitive, conceptual core, all those funny words. And yoga is a technique. Yoga means union. It is a technique designed. All the different yogas, and there are many different yogas, are each designed to take you and to work with various aspects of your being to take you to the place where you are in this other vantage point. because our problem primarily is that our minds are completely out of control. Absolutely out of control. Vivekananda likens our minds to drunken monkeys. I mean, you just think of what's happening to your own thoughts at this moment. You listen to me for a moment, you're aware you're hot, you think about the time, you feel your body, you feel perspiration, you wonder about something, your thought goes off somewhere else, you're aware you're next to a neighbor, you think about later, you remember before, you wonder what use this will be to you. I mean, I can pick up thousands of things, and you know, we're all thinking lots and lots and lots, and they're just going by just like that. And the funny thing that has happened in the West, and now in the world, is that the rational mind, which is the highest tool that man has for gaining enlightenment, is also the most powerful trap, it turns out. And what has happened is our minds, which are in effect servants, have become masters. I mean, if at this moment a naked girl walked out of that room and walked up here, all your consciousnesses would be copped. Right? You just take all your consciousnesses with you. Maybe one person here would be able to just keep right on with, here we are. And yes, and that too, and here we are. Everybody would go on the trip because you're completely at the whim of your stimulus input. You are your senses, you are your thoughts. And the game is to calm your mind down so that you are no longer your senses and your thoughts. In that way, you are free of them, and then they become the servants they were meant to be, and you can use the exquisite response mechanism that is the brain and thought for what it's supposed to be used for, without it running the ship.